Welcome everybody. Hope you're all doing well to the inaugural. I don't know. I gave it a name called Strength. I literally decided to do this live stream about 45 minutes ago, an hour ago. I messaged you and I was like, "Would you want to do this live?" I was like, "Okay." How are you, man?
Yeah, let's do it. I like the title.
Yeah.
Doing well, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I thought it was pretty clever.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Friend from the past.
Some of this
we
stuff,
don't have to talk what you're all about.
flashes of inspiration every now and again. Welcome everybody. Jasic G is there. Lost Marimo is there. We are still waiting on Tarax. He said he would be here, and he's still not here.
He'll be here shortly. I think he's just got a couple of things to wrap up.
Oh, that's him there. He's there. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. He's actually private messaging me and everything. Here we go. Right, let's try it. It's going to fuck up my screen now in a second, but we'll try again.
You take care of the technicals.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer Jasic G's little mention here about the video I just made.
Yeah, absolutely. You take over. I'm doing technical stuff.
I'll press the turn on camera button. That might help.
You just stay with you're like the game expert. We won't worry about. You're like, do I need to run one of my dad's bi-weekly technical sessions with you, Tarax?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm still not showing up on your overlay though.
There we go. You're in. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure that out. I think it is meant to work with any kind of parry because that's what it states. By their logic, if you look at some of the parry skills, especially the ones that reduce damage, they also work with a perfect parry.
Yeah.
So by their logic, this armor should work with any parry.
Yeah.
So maybe they accidentally fixed the bug.
Yeah.
And whatever they've done is unfixed it, or it's background. It wasn't in the patch notes or anything like that. So who knows what's going on there?
Yeah.
Hopefully it gets fixed properly and it is meant to stack, or they'll release something that says it's not meant to stack. I wouldn't mind some clarification on that.
Yeah.
Parry and perfect parry are different mechanics though. I mean,
yes,
the game makes that
but
clear.
It's in the wording. And so by their logic, because I've argued this case as well, that they are two different mechanics and they're separated.
Yeah.
But certain parts of it overlap. So again, it needs a bit of clarification. So I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming what I just did made no difference to the sound.
No, it's perfect. Whatever you did,
actually, fixed it.
It's completely gone. That noise.
Cool. I turned off the heating in the house.
Oh my god, you're like a technical wizard or something. I don't know. First of all, you can't get your camera working, and what is Cyrilla up to right now?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just relax, yeah.
Yeah, just chill, Cyrilla. Cyrilla's the podcast. Like I literally called this a podcast about 15 minutes before we were about to go live. So I took a lot of creative liberties here tonight, guys. Originally it was like, hey guys, do you want to just have a quick chat? I haven't talked to you in a while. And I was like, do you want to maybe live stream it and see what happens?
Yeah.
I'm still confused, and I'm going to slowly freeze to death if this goes on now.
Oh, that's true. Do you want to go put a jacket on or something?
I'm all right.
So we have some people saying comments and stuff. Before we get to comments and stuff, I just wanted to see how you guys are getting on with the game. Are you? I have to, from my perspective right now, I'm kind of only now starting to play the story stuff, if I'm honest. Get out and actually do the story. I've been doing a lot of obviously be honest, just spending more time making content than actually playing the game. It's hard to have a job, make content, and then play games on top of that as well. But have you guys? I put a little poll in the channel recently to see what percentage of people have finished the story quests. And if I go to it right now and I look at the poll, we have 74% of people have not finished the story quests. This is out of 307 votes. So obviously it's not the entire player base, but out of this podcast, what is the percentage of people who have finished the story quests?
I'm going to say 66%.
Have you both finished it? You do? You have?
So I literally have the last portion of the Dawnbringer quest, Sword in the Stone.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
that's the one I'm kind of
Oh.
like. That's the one I'm stuck on. Well, I'm not. It's one of 3 that I've started, and this one is like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not getting up at 6 a.m. to go and finish this.
No, I'm gonna wait until summer.
Yeah.
I've finished them all. I'm already awake at that time, so it wasn't really a big deal.
Yeah.
Once we figured out when dawn and dusk actually happen.
Yeah.
And what the conditions are.
For those people who are watching, what is dawn? And do we have official time zones? Or
It's regional.
It changes.
It changes based on where you are.
Okay.
It's a literal geographic location thing. So
yeah.
So you Google it, you subtract 20 minutes, and that's about right.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I found the same with dusk. You just turn up slightly earlier, and you just wait for the times to change over. Sometimes it'll do it in the game. Other times you have to kind of force it. But if it's starting to get slightly different colored outside, that's when.
Yeah.
I have a block of text sitting in a notepad on my iPad, and every time it comes up in the Discord, I just copy paste into there.
I'd say you've got a lot of those macros, as they're called. It's like, what's the best armor? This. Copy
There
paste.
isn't one. Yeah.
What's the best sword? This.
No.
Depends.
I got
Depends.
I've been testing some of this stuff just because people have been asking questions. So naturally, I'll just jump on and quickly test a few things out. So yeah, I'll cover a couple of those things if you're keen. It's been kind of fun, just kind of seeing some of the mechanics.
Yeah.
How do you get cursed remains?
Oh, look at us! Look at us! The Witcher Monster Slayer snobs listening to the noobs.
That's fun. I love it.
Yeah.
Roger, you were saying you spend more time making content than playing the game. I think I spend more time answering questions on the Discord than playing the game. So
that's what you get when you've played. You've already played the game like 9 times longer than anybody who's playing it right now. So,
just so you guys know, I'm gonna shoot this. I've decided to jump in with the new people, and let's see if this actually shows.
Oh, you made a second account, didn't you?
Oh, nice.
Is from the old days.
Yeah.
So I am a level 9 Witcher. I am going through the exact same pain that you guys are.
Yeah.
So I've got nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a 2 monster right next to me.
Yeah.
I managed to take out a 1 skull at level 9, and it took me like 20 attempts.
Yeah.
So I feel pain.
Yeah. I debated it.
Possible.
I debated it, and I was like, why would I put myself through this? I was just like, I don't really feel like putting myself through this at the moment.
Yeah, but it's good to put it into perspective because I mean we've been playing for so long that you kind of lose sight of it with all the skills that you've got and how easy it's gotten. Like even with perfect parries, you miss one hit, that could throw the game for you. But just to say that it is possible with enough practice. But at the same time, all these potions and oils and armors and swords, suddenly this game is just so easy, especially later on. I think level 25 is the turning point. Like if you manage to get that high up, or even level 20, it just switches and boom.
Right.
I'm just sorry. We're kind of missing out on a bit of chat here. I didn't realize it would kick off. So, you lads, people are saying there. Let's go back a bit. Coldy said some descriptions are poorly worded, like the percentages are sometimes additive, sometimes multiplicative. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
all over the shop.
And yeah, sorry, I'm gonna totally jump in on this. My apologies. You can take the next one. Just interrupt me anytime. One I've noticed is the wording between something will accelerate the charging of your crit meter, and the other one accelerates your crit meter or something like that. There's this wording that they use, and I'm like thinking, well, if it accelerates the charging of my crit meter, when I cast the sign, does that mean the next time I hit crit meter, it just increases by how much it charges? Or is it charging the bar? And so there's mechanics working in the background that I don't think we've quite figured out. And so some things might make your bar charge by a larger amount, and others just charge it by a certain amount. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure that one out at the moment. The wording is very specific. It's just because we don't know how the mechanics work that we're not sure, how to differentiate the wording. So it's a bit weird.
Yeah. Sorry,
Oh, your chat's disappeared.
There are some things that always hold true, right? Like XP bonuses only ever trigger off base XP unless you're using a scroll.
Yeah.
So actually, maybe there's nothing that holds true because everything has about 3 or 4 conditions. It works like this, apart from all these other things.
To be like, it's so funny. To be honest with you, I don't care. It's like I often think of like it's to me, it's really interesting how much, and I get it. People are passionate about these things, but I'm just like, I just like this game. I like how pretty this sword is or this skill is. Some people are like, no, seriously, what's the multiplicative, math value on this? And I'm just like, I don't know.
The thing is, I'm not a numbers big brain. I don't do that well. I'll do the basics, the rudimentary. But the other day, I'm sitting like I've got the numbers for just the basic skills in front of me, like just what a normal hit does, what it does with a sword, and what it does with a sword and a potion.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the 3 numbers. I'm thinking, okay, this one does it by 30%. And when I multiply it by 30% of itself, it kind of lines up. And when I multiply it by 130% of itself, it's off. And I'm like, well, where did I go wrong with, my numbers? And I'm like, you know what? I give up. The numbers got bigger. That's what counts. But someone will figure out what the formulas are.
Yeah.
And I do question if there's, what do we get out of that mathing up the Switcher game? Because the mechanics aren't that complex. But I mean, there's not, there's not a lot of optimization to be had. And it all sort of pales in comparison versus the kind of innate skill you get. I had someone contact me this morning, I won't say who it is, who was a new player and was basically like, what armor should I buy and what sword should I buy to be better? And my answer to them was none. Just practice the game more.
Yeah.
And then worry about buying all of that stuff because your innate skill that you build up over time is going to be much more valuable to you than X percentage, whatever. Notwithstanding, Habrock, whatever you're saying about what it's like to be a new player. But
But the thing is, your skills are what make you better in this game. The armor and the swords that you get make it slightly easier, and they conform to your playstyle. Whereas you could literally get through this game with no stats armor, no stats swords, put the skills in the right place, use the appropriate potions, and either side down the combat or the skill tree, or the sign tree. Alchemy, okay, that comes a bit later on. That's especially if you're using oils, which, by the way, massive boost. But you don't need any of the weapons. They just make your game
and what's
more
much more important is that when it's night and I'm using Meltith, you can see the runes glowing on the sword. That's what I
Yeah.
Now we're talking about the important stuff, gents. This is the important stuff. Like, where are my cosmetics? Where's the shiny shit that I can wear? Where's the little bird I can put on my shirt, my pet wolf or something? Do you know what I mean? What?
I still want my hat.
Hat, something like that. Something like that. Sorry, somebody put something funny in chat there a while back. It is sad that I'm in a 2,000 person Facebook Witcher Polish group and need to find some info about upgrades from people from New Zealand. Jasic G, nice man. Just going back through chat here, I know I've missed a few. Some people have said like I can't finish the story because of bugs. Has that been fixed? Do we know how, the story
That's
stuff?
quite a big question. Which bugs and some of it has, some of it hasn't.
Some people have said finish the whole story and all quests in the first week. I know a lot of people like mainline this game for like a week. I am a little bit concerned about drop off because not everybody cares about filling out their bestiary and they like the RPG. Believe it or not.
I don't understand.
Weirdos, absolute weirdos who aren't completionists.
I don't think Spocko realized how quickly people were going to chew through this content.
Well, you have to imagine that like the playtesters played the game and like, well, this quest takes X number of hours, this quest takes you know,
Yeah.
at the very quickest that you can do it. Like, there's probably a lot of people like, you know, first again, I have in the past, I'm trying to avoid spoilers for my own benefit more than anything else, because I've only like completed 3 or 4 main quests, but the ones I have, it's like, oh, I have to get up at dawn to do this, and I'm like, I'd say there's a lot of people out there like me who are like, do you know what? I'll do it another day. Every morning, waking up at like 6 and going, no, tomorrow.
That's the time get like that's a specific time of day. Whereas most of the other ones, you're like, oh, you just walk this way, walk that way.
Yeah,
you know. So I wouldn't mind seeing what the completion percentage is in terms of, you know, who's done most of it. You know, minus the Dawn one, but I think a lot of people have gotten through a significant portion of the content.
Yeah. Well, it's, as I said, that poll I have is 74% people have not finished it, the story content yet. But I bet you a lot of it is to do with those timed quests where it's like, you know, I haven't had a chance to go out during sunrise or sunset, or, you know, and get that finished off. Jessica said, can I get a question for her? Brock, I got like 4k gold at the moment. Should I spend them and buy silver sword or huge bag? I think we've covered this a lot. What would you recommend? You now have the power over Jasek's 4,000 gold. What are you telling him, Brock?
Great. It depends on, have you got an armor or a sword already? If you don't have a silver sword, so yes, silver sword. It's going to make your game easier. And then it depends on your playstyle and what silver sword you'll get. But if you've got 4 grand, I would probably get, what is it? Either Wolven or Manticore. Maybe even the Griffin.
Yeah.
But then that's on your playstyle. The bag, on the other hand,
he's talking about the large bag, obviously. Which is how many slots? How many slots is that?
200?
Wait a second. I have it in my, you guys have got it, so you don't know. It is large bag is 4,000 gold. It is set of saddlebags. It is 400 inventory slots.
400.
So that's big.
You're going to fill up that bag no matter what.
Absolutely.
But on the plus side, if you fill it with potions, like make everything, continuously make stuff, and ditch all the extra parts that you don't need, then that bag's worth getting. You know. I mean, I do that right now. I literally did all of my monster parts and common parts to have a very minimal amount. Because you will always run out of bag space. That is basically the purpose of this game. This is called Witcher Inventory Management Slayer.
For show says, aren't all the percentage boosters simply adding to base? Woven sword, crushing precise blows, fleet-footed, griffin armor, etc. Does that make sense, Trax?
All the percentage damage increases, but I think it's the other mechanics that are tripping us up. Like, what does the Woven sword that increases crit by 10, or however it's worded? You probably know.
Woven steel sword, a steel sword that accelerates critical hit meter charging during melee combat by 10%.
All right. Yes. Now you've touched on something I want to talk about as well, because someone brought this up to me and says, hey, we've been discussing the Woven sword in terms of strong attacks and whether you get 3 hits in or 4 hits on that initial start in combat, and whether it triggers a crit hit. So I tried this out, and you only get 3 hits. Just like any other sword, it'll charge your crit meter to full, then you get a sign in, or basically you end up a perfect parry or sign, and then you keep attacking. You're never going to get a crit before that first attack from a monster. So that might sway you on the Woven sword. But what I've noticed is it fills up your meter, even though it should fill it up past the crit, it doesn't trigger the crit. So it's kind of an odd one. Yeah. So I'd like to know how that sword works mechanically as well.
I'd love to get a developer stream or something like that and be like, these are how the percentages work, or can you clarify? Stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned. Mina's flippers. Anybody know if Griffin's silver sword increases the staggering effect of Ard?
As in, like 1.3 seconds instead of 1 second.
So Griffin, silver sword. What did you say, Griffin? Just so everyone is aware.
Yeah, the Griffin swords increase the effective size by 30%.
Oh yes.
So
Trax, you take this one for a second, will you?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've just Havrock can probably answer this better, but I mean, what he's saying is, does that mean the stagger becomes 1.3 seconds, right, instead of 1?
Okay.
I wouldn't have thought so because that's an effect of a skill, not an effect of. Oh, maybe. What do you think, Havrock? You're way deeper in the math than me.
So I don't even do the maths. I just use a video editor to go through the frames.
Yeah.
Sounds like math.
Yeah. May as well be math.
That's a valid question. I would like to know that as well. So maybe that's something I'll look at. Because if it does increase it, I mean, 0.3 of a second is not a significant amount. But, maybe it's how long it takes you to have your thumb move to your screen. But then, in the same vein, does the Griffin sword affect the amount of damage absorbed by Quinn? It's a hard one to tell because if you're looking at your health bar, you've got two different amounts of damage being done to you. And then the amount that you're reflecting doesn't change based on that attack. So no matter what, you're always going to be reflecting, I think, 66 damage is what I currently do with the skills I've put in. And I've done that consistently across a number of monsters. I'm always reflecting 66 damage. But am I doing more with, the absorb?
The stagger and stuff,
And so would that, would the sword affect art as well? Would you delay the next attack? In that same vein, if you pop a Petrie's filter, then you should technically be staggering that monster for 2 seconds. And
but
I don't.
because that's part of the effect of art.
Yeah. So good question. See, it's little things like this where I'm like, I don't think of trying that. And it's not something I generally take notice of.
Yeah, it's stuff that like
that's why we need the Witcher Science Lab.
Yeah. we need that.
And this is why I don't play the game.
Coldy says, I think people want to know what is the best armor sword because it takes several weeks to buy a piece of equipment and wasting gold equals time on a bad item is very likely given the approximate wording. I think that's a valid point. People do want to know that the gold that they've spent is actually on something that's of worth. Like, there's very few things that are bad in the game. Like, there's very few pieces of equipment that are like genuinely terrible. They all do something good depending on. Oh, you're laughing. Is there a piece of is there like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I've answered this question a ton, and the armor that affects combat more than anything else is the Manticore armor. But you have to use potions. So if you're prepared to use potions, then you get value out of that armor regardless.
Yeah, that's true.
The rest of them give marginal increases to something like all the equipment does. So that's a kind of a straight up buy if you're ready for the fact that you are going to have to brew a lot of potions.
Consumables are a part of the game. And to be honest, Manticore would be at the top of my list of things to buy, no matter what. Just because it makes it so much easier, especially in Nematon. I mean, you're going to be slicing through these guys like a hot knife through butter.
The reason I hesitate is because I have it, but I hardly ever use it. Right? So I'm recommending something to the community that I don't really use anymore. I slap it on occasionally in in a Nematon if I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered paying attention today.
Yep, and I agree. Like my loadout is Care and armor. And then anytime it's a steel sword, I'm using the 10% Care sword for experience. That's the majority of it. But then I'm also level 37, 37. So I've got a whole bunch of skills. I've worked out most of my timings. And I will pop oils and potions if I need to take something out. Then I need to take something out. They do the work of the Manticore for me. Now, that's not to say that in future things might get more difficult. Like, we don't know what's coming in the game.
Almost certainly it will, or at least it'll be different enough that we'll all be confused and have to start using the Manticore armor all the time anyway. The swords, I think it's those mid-tier swords that most people want to head for.
Yeah.
The the 3600 ones. They're the I have other stuff, but you could easily run the game with your choice of Wolven or Manticore, steel and silver if you want to.
Yeah, and that's a huge one because if you're looking at the price of the two, what was it? Is it feline and ursine?
1600. Yeah,
they're literally half the price of the Wolven or Manticore equivalent. And so Wolven and Manticore, regardless of fast or slow attack, whereas the feline specific, so is the ursine. So just get the sword that's more generalized.
Yeah.
And the effect is just the type of gameplay you have to get used to.
Yeah.
Wolven, you're just going to have to get used to critting a lot more often and timing it so that you're not getting hit by monsters.
So that's
and
just,
if you get my ass kicked on that one.
Just to interrupt you on that, and that was something that actually only I asked in my own Discord there recently. I hadn't really thought about it. So like the crit mini game, if you get like it's a crit one way or the other if you hit inside the circle. It's just the difference between a perfect crit and a vanilla crit. Am I right in saying that? So
which
like
it's ×3 and ×2.
Yeah, so any reference to like increasing critical damage is either or. It's just obviously the perfect crit will do more again. Am I right in saying that? I had originally sort of maybe misinterpreted that you had to hit the perfect crit to take advantage of those crit bonuses and anything that applied a crit bonus. So I'm wrong in that assumption, correct?
Yeah, unless the skill is worded some other way.
Yes,
I can't remember them all off the top of my head.
Well, this is it. So I can't even remember what I'm thinking about right now. But I just remember a question being floated in a YouTube comment or in Discord. I can't even remember where it was like, does this crit bonus apply to just perfect crits? And then I was like, wait, there's a difference, isn't there? And I suppose I just never really looked at the damage bonus. Like, you know, the way the numbers flash up so quickly. I know, how Brock, myself and yourself probably you have the benefit of video editing software where you can kind of like frame by frame it. But most people are like literally looking at it and your thumb might be over the damage number when you hit it, and it's only up for like a split second. So it is tough to kind of evaluate how much damage you are doing sometimes.
So if you miss the circle, then you're still doing a crit, and it's a decent amount. But if you hit that circle, like a perfect crit does a lot more damage, but with the skill, it also staggers that monster for a second.
Yes.
So what I found is I usually time my crit to hit a monster when it's about to attack me to get that interrupt. It just means that I don't have to parry it. It just gives me an extra bit of time where with a Wolven sword on fast attacks or even some slow ones, I'll get another crit in before it gets that attack animation again. And so you kind of learn the patterns. But that's one of the things in gameplay with the different swords, especially when you're looking at your crit meter charges. You've really got to time it so that this monster doesn't hit you when a crit screen comes.
It's one of the toughest things to do when you first start playing this game is sometimes to hold off on that last hit before you get the crit, because you're like, do I try and squeeze it in before the monster like swipes, or do I want to like put myself under that pressure, or the little meter is moving across the screen and the monster is like slow-mo doing this and you're like, will I hit, and then you hit it early but that doesn't count and you still miss the block, and sometimes you get it just right, and it's the single probably sweatiest moment in the game.
Start again.
Yeah, and then you die, and then you start again. Exactly. I'm just conscious we're falling behind on chat here, guys. Does anyone else? Dat Bueno says, does anyone else find this game extremely frustrating to play if you're not A, driving around in a car, B, using a GPS spoofer? I've had so many quests take me onto main highways. Seems unwise.
So I'm really interested in this because it's not something that I've encountered, and I mostly play walking around, right? I'll occasionally get in the car to go on one of my crazy legendary hunts. But apart from that, and I popped something in the Discord about this the other day. I kind of want to survey people to understand whether it's different in different countries, because people say, oh, there's no herb spawns or there's no whatever. I keep getting put on highways, and it's not something I've encountered. And I'm a bit nervous for them that it was tested in this country. Have they sort of configured it to how we're laid out, and there's something else going on for other people in other countries that's messing them up. We know it uses Google data, blah blah blah. Yeah, because I you know, work in the middle of a city. I did a number of quests in the city. If something was wrong, I'd just hit relocate, and I'd have to walk another kilometer in the other direction, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But I read all of this stuff about people going, it's on a restricted area, or it's on a motorway, or it's on a
Yeah,
whatever.
it's on a military
what's
base.
going on
It's
here?
on, yeah, it's like,
yeah, what's going on here?
I think
Because it's
that's
not
more about
something that I
where
really
you.
encountered.
I think that's more about where you live than the game itself. Like you know, it's I live in South Dublin suburbia, so like there's nowhere really here that's like restricted land or you know massive building developments and stuff like that. So I suppose Google data doesn't know that, you know, there's a big, I don't know, warehouse being constructed down the road, and it might spawn something in there. And I actually played in the car when we were driving, like we were highway driving our way home from the west of Ireland, and like there was no road, like it physically knew I was on a highway and there was no road in the map. So it was like even if I was walking, the highway would not have appeared on the map. It was almost like excluding the highway. So
yeah, it excludes highways and excludes anything that ostensibly would be unthematic on the map.
Yeah.
Although that's kind of ridiculous, because when you see like a grid city, going, that's not very medieval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dat Bueno actually followed up there. The more roads that are around you, the more stuff spawns. It's a city street layout versus rural back road street layout. Is that true?
Yes, that's very true.
Okay, interesting.
Now, a while back, I did a bit of a road trip. It was about a 4-hour drive. It's when I went to, you know, grab Siri.
Yeah.
And basically, every kilometer and a half or so, or however long it was, I had an Nemeton spawn.
Okay.
And this is going along, you know, ostensibly what counts as a highway in New Zealand. So the road wasn't really showing for the most part, but it depends on how it's laid out. So motorways don't show, but it seems highways kind of do. It's a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
But I had Nemeton spawn the whole way through. I had monsters spawn every couple of 100 meters as I'm driving along. And I, you know, I'm obviously not playing. I'm trying not to crash and kill myself because.
So just confirm for us, you are driving and you are playing. Is that what you're saying here live on stream right now?
What I'm saying is, I had the game open like a GPS unit, showing where I was going as my horse was galloping along. Which, by the way, I'm still taking credit for as one of my suggestions. So until they tell me otherwise, that's
I remember.
That's my contribution to the game.
Okay.
But yeah, rural areas you do have some monster spawns, but it looks to be it's based on the road layout and kind of a grid pattern on where these monsters spawn. Because where I live, I will pop a Witcher potion, and there's an entire stretch where it's literally empty. Like Falcon, it's empty. And this is a road. And then on the other side, there's tons of monsters. But seems to be blank spots.
The next road over always has all the monsters. It's the grass is always greener, lads.
Also down, driveways. So if your driveway is of a certain size, it seems to count that as a small road. And I've had quests at the end of these driveways. Where I'm like, I've got a trespass now, and there's nothing worse than walking, you know, a couple of meters up someone's driveway, only to have the headlights shine in your face, and you're like, I shouldn't be here at this time of night. And then turning around and quickly walking away.
That's true of all AR games, though, isn't it? I mean, they all kind of can send you into weird places. Depending on how they're set. Even the Niantic stuff does that. I remember years ago walking up someone's driveway to catch an unknown, or whatever they were.
Ray. Okay. Sorry, I'm conscious we're falling behind on chat, lads. And guys, appreciate everyone. Please, sorry, just before I forget, thank you so much, everybody, for jumping on and hitting that thumbs up and listening to us and commenting and asking questions. As much as we like make fun of the fact we answer the same questions over and over again, like it just goes to show that there are new players joining all of the time, and that's great to see. Would you shortly tell us how many items, this is from Ray Shepherd, would you shortly tell us how many items you can each hold, everyone with saddlebags? I have got 400. I know you guys are maxed out. What is the max number again of inventory
1,000.
space? 1,000. Okay.
1,000.
So if
1,000.
you buy, and actually that's a good question. How much gold do you have to spend now? Again, you guys might know the answer to this question.
Yeah.
How much gold now do you have to spend to get 1,000 spaces? So like the 400 one is 4,000 gold. The 200 one is 2,000 gold. So that's at least 6,000 gold just to get the first 600 slots. I purchased the other 3, I want to say. I don't know how much they were. So somewhere like, I want to say...
It's 100 per... It's 100 per 10, I think.
Is it?
So if you're paying 4,000 for 400...
Right.
Okay. Then they minus your initial starting cost.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Sorry. Yeah.
So it's multiplied by 10.
Yeah, so it's 10,000 gold essentially to get all of the inventory slots. But if we're honest, and I think we've all said this before.
You start with 100 or 200?
Oh, good question. I don't know.
I can tell you that in just 2 seconds.
You have your alt account, don't you?
Start with 200, don't you?
Yep, you start with 200. So yep, you're looking at maths 8,000 gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to.
Thanks for the question, Ray. Appreciate it. Who's next? I'd like to see. Coldy says, I'd love to see decoctions. That would be like time buffs, weaker effects than potions, but they are kept between fights. So there are a couple of, like, there's the blacksmith who can upgrade your sword for damage. Yeah. Is there anything else that I'm missing, like of timed bonus? Like there's the XP bonus from the scrolls.
Yeah, there's the consumables.
That's a consumable. Yeah. Smile FYS says, currently having a nice bug where I got an extra skill point from 3 golem kills, or 3 out of 3 golem kills. Then I started the game again, and the golem is 2 out of 3 again.
I don't know. That happens a lot.
Bug that's been coming up a lot.
Okay. Sorry. So explain this to me. So this is in your bestiary. You kill 2 out of the 3. And you get a skill point.
Well, it's actually it's in your bestiary. You kill anything, and for whatever reason, it doesn't register. Either because it's loaded the wrong monster in the background, which happens to some people.
Yeah.
Or some other thing I don't understand. But the point is, the game will kind of register. Oh, you've clicked over to 3, have a skill point, and then you restart, and it goes, no, you're only on 2. And I think you can go into negative skill points.
Oh no.
Yeah, you gain them back as soon as it,
as it updates. Again. I haven't noticed this yet, but now I'm paranoid.
Well, I've never noticed it. It's never happened to me. Which again makes me think, what's going on that's causing it.
I've had this happen once or twice. It's an odd bug because it's not just limited to your bestiary. It's it goes into your daily quests. It goes into a few other things where somewhere along the line your communication with the server is cut off. Now for me it seems to be more when I've been playing the game, I close it for a while and I reopen the game, and instead of the game loading up, it just opens the game up again and it reconnects to the server. Any action you take seems to not register. So if you kill a monster and it's the 3rd one out of the 3 that you need, it won't register that last one. So when you go to hit claim, it won't let you claim.
Interesting.
And then you go and reset the game, and you can hit the claim button, but all of a sudden you're back to 2 out of 3. Same with your bestiary. You've used the skill point, and you go back into the game, and it's reset it back to 2 out of 3. And so I don't know if it's loaded the wrong monster, or you've attacked a monster that was on the screen, but the server now says it's despawned, or it's just it never really re-established that connection properly. And so somewhere along the line, there's a bit of kind of a dropped communication where suddenly you're like, well, okay, cool. I just spent ages looking for this last monster to kill for my daily quest, and it's disappeared on me. And so it's a bit of a pain in the ass. And so I'm not sure what's causing the bug, but that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is basically if you're shutting down the game and opening it back up, just force close the game and restart the game.
Or just have better internet.
Or get better internet.
Just get better internet. Eduardo says, any scrolls worth to buy? We just made a video about this.
Check out Roger's video.
Yeah. So what did we say?
In the description below.
We thought there's the range one we said was a really good one to have. At least I know, Tarax, you were passionate about the range one, because it's just good to have as a nice to have. Like you said, if you live next to that military base and you can't get near that legendary, that extra range,
or you're on a train a lot.
Yeah. But the other ones, I think we were saying the XP scroll is good if you have bait and you want to just farm a Nematon. Potentially that gets expensive for a free-to-play player, because you'd be chewing through your gold pretty quickly.
I've seen a lot of people saying, you can buy X number of XP scrolls for the same cost as the KM armor, which I can't, doesn't make sense in my head, because yes, but you have the Caremoran armor forever.
Yeah.
So I don't. Someone might be able to explain why it's a good idea in chat to us, but I don't really understand why you would burn 50 XP scrolls.
It's only a benefit up until the point where you spend more than 12,000 gold on it, and then you could have just bought the Caremoran armor and you would have had it all along. But I suppose it's like short-term gains maybe for long-term loss, essentially. If you don't want to spend 12,000 gold up front, and you want to
my suspicion is people are looking at the XP curve and assuming it's a kind of a somewhat linear progression, and that you're only going to need X amount of XP, which is not true. Go and have a look at the level progression on the wiki, and you'll see that it's
and also the XP scrolls are only for 30 minutes as well. So like you know the Caremoran is forever, like you said. Sorry, we're falling behind again.
Okay.
Jasik said, now, what do you think? Yeah, what do you think about fake GPS? I'm not using it. We'll never ever install it to that, but I'm curious. What do you think about it? I've said it before. Like for me personally, it would be great as somebody who wants to make content. I'd love to sit here and stream the game and chat with you guys, but obviously you can't. You have to get out in the world and walk around. I know obviously there's people out there who can't like walk long distances and maybe have disabilities and stuff like that. So like at the moment it doesn't matter because there's nobody to compete against. You're only playing against yourself. So if you want to spoof, I think, and as far as I'm aware, Spocko have said like it's not against the terms of service. We just don't want you to do it, which is fine. Yeah. Right. But for me personally, I'm like there are people out there. Maybe I know my scenario is very, very niche, but there are people out there who physically, would find it hard to walk miles just to play this game and complete bestiaries. So, what's the harm in letting them use a spoofing thing? I don't know. That's my personal take on it. Yeah. Tarax, what do you? Sorry, Brock, you go first. What do you think on spoofing? Like,
I mean, it's against the spirit of the game. That's an initial reaction. But then I'm like you said, there are people that can't get out there. The official word from Spocko at the moment is it's not against the terms, but they'd prefer it if you didn't do it.
Yeah.
And word is that they might change that soon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Currently, it offers you no benefit over any other player in the game. Maybe it'll allow you to, get more monsters and fill up your bestiary and acquire a couple of skills. Play the game remotely, so to speak.
Yeah.
And to be honest, to be able to play the game remotely with the current situation outside of New Zealand, absolutely.
Yeah.
But as soon as any type of competitive element is introduced in game, then that's going to confer an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
Case I will be against it. Absolutely.
I think that's fair.
People always abuse these kind of things and take advantage, which makes it shitty for the people that require it.
Well, this is it. Like.
Yeah, I don't have much else to add for that. It sounds like your opinion's pretty much the same as mine.
Also, rural players, if there's not many monsters around where you live, this is a great way to get into cities where there's more monsters. I am surprised, by the way, I've taken a number of walks through regional parks here, and there's no monsters to be had anywhere. I'm thinking, well, this is perfect location for this sort of thing. So I'd love to see more spawn.
That's funny you say that, because I feel that there's a few sort of green spaces near me, and I feel like there's a lot more monsters in those green spaces.
Are those green spaces close to roads, though?
Well, this is it. Yeah, like I am in suburban Dublin, so like, there are parks and stuff like that, so they are surrounded by roads. I agree with you there. But yes, if you walk out into acres of farmland, you probably won't get the same experience.
So, our national parks are not road adjacent.
Yeah.
See Lord of the Rings.
Well, this I was just gonna say. It's basically like Hobbiton outside your back door most of the time.
There's a rather
I have a
large
hobbit hole out the back.
You guys all live underground anyway, so
yeah. There's a pretty big park next to me. It's got 1 or 2 roads going through it, but every time I'm up there, I see maybe 2-3 monsters. So it's a lot of wasted space there. Whereas on the road there, when I'm walking, heaps more.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of a disparity.
I think you made the point, like, until there becomes an like zone control, or like they have with Pokestops, and you take it over for your color or your Witcher school or whatever. Again, everyone is fascinated as to what this game will turn, if this game gets some sort of PvP mode or social interaction mode. Go ahead, Tarak. Sorry, you're going to say?
I was just going to say this game has a very different design philosophy than those other AR games. Which I think a lot of people are reacting to that, unconsciously or not. If you listen to Spocko talk about it, when they occasionally do, for them it's almost like they've made this kind of real life Witcher simulator. Where some things are meant to be quite hard for you, and you're really meant to live the life of the Witcher, as they say. I think, and I kind of like it because it's different. Not games can get a bit samey, so I'm like, well, I'm going to invest in this because I might not like some of the things that it's making me do personally, but it's different. Or my gamer senses might get triggered by some things.
That's a very good point. I think that's a very good point, is that people are going to apply the logic of Pokemon Go or Wizards Unite or Jurassic, I don't know what the Jurassic Park game is called, but where they're like, okay, we're going to apply the same design philosophy across all of these games. We're just going to paint them with a different skin for each different game. But like, this game seems to be a single player, like you said, Witcher simulator, where you go out in the world.
Story-based thing that comes out every season. Like a TV show, you get a season a year. I don't know how many seasons there are going to be or when they come out. And maybe they're thinking, oh, well, you dip into it once every 3 months or 6 months or whatever, and you be a Witcher for a while, and then who knows?
True. That again, very good point.
I've seen suggestions to the opposite as well. Instead of it following the Pogo Harry Potter kind of formula, there's people that want to see it follow more of the Witcher formula. Like, they're looking or expecting a game that is the same as The Witcher 3 on mobile, where you're just adding complexities to a game that doesn't need it. But some of the suggestions I've seen are amazing, and I'm like, wow, I'd love to see this stuff implemented. But game designed for a person walking around, I don't want to be stuck in a fight for 20 minutes. You know what I mean? I want to be fighting as I walk. Whereas I really need to concentrate, I'll stop for maybe a few minutes and then carry on. So while I think some suggestions in terms of increasing difficulties or having raids and bigger monsters and that thing, great. But remember, I'm not sitting in a comfortable chair at a PC with headphones on, blasting music, doing an epic battle with a monster with 20 other people. I'm literally on the street where it might start pissing down with rain, with heavy traffic in front of me trying to cross a road. So
I see Mr. Robot in chat said, I don't need another Pogo or Wizards Unite copycat. Like, let's be original and stuff like that. Like, I can see that.
And is that going to be commercially viable for them? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, that's the thing.
That company has made kind of a name for themselves over the years, doing things that wouldn't necessarily be. And I'm talking about the Witcher games primarily. I remember starting up The Witcher 1, which had this weird sort of timing twitch-based combat in an isometric RPG, for want of a better way of putting it. And they're like, what is this? And a lot of people hate that game because the combat's a bit gnarly. Start up Witcher 2 and, you spend the first month just getting destroyed because your timing's not right and so on. So, I like different, so let's have something different.
It seems to be working for him at the moment, because I was reading somewhere that pulled in $500,000.
Three quarters of a million in the first week.
Sorry, excuse me. Are you saying Spocko Games made $750,000 in the first week?
The app did, and purchase content.
Are you fucking serious? Where is this written down? Links, citation needed. Citation needed. No, that's class. That makes me happy.
But yeah, that bodes well for the future of the game.
Yeah.
Which means that hopefully, they'll be able to put in more quests and more content.
Whoever I just think like whoever those 3 whales are, thank you very much. Whoever the 3 whales who donated that much money, who's just spent $250,000 each on this game, thank you.
I'd love to see the stats on that. How many starter packs?
That's amazing.
What are people spending gold on?
Yeah. That's crazy. So sorry again. What was it? Eduardo, game currently is online. PvE, nothing online is pretty boring. There's no Team Bueno. So Witcher Schools I think would be a nice addition. See, I think a lot of this also falls back on like it would be kind of anti or against the lore if we all started like competing against one another and had raids and stuff. Witchers are solitary. Witchers don't generally team up. So like again, like waiting and hoping for a sort of Pokemon Go style AOR game with this Witcher skin, you might be waiting a long time. But I think it would be. Sorry, go ahead.
There are ways to get around it in the lore.
Yes.
Just look at the new anime that's coming out on Netflix in a little while.
Yeah.
For me, it feels less about the lore and more again about that design philosophy for the game and what they want to do.
Yeah.
Now they may be forced to put multiplayer in.
Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, it's just not going to carry on. Who knows? But
you'd imagine. Sorry, Herbrock, go ahead. You haven't had a chance.
I mean, in terms of teaming up, there's a couple of times in the game where you team up with other people.
Sorry, I know that there has been happened where you do team up, but I'm just saying you don't team up with hundreds of other people to take them.
Exactly. But I mean, being able to take on a monster with thematically 1 or 2 other people. Even if there's hundreds of people involved, I mean, from the game perspective, it's you teamed up with another Witcher and took on a bigger monster than yourself. It does happen. It's a rare thing, which is why, from a raid perspective or a weekly monster sort of thing, it can make sense, and it is something that they could potentially be looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, I for one would welcome any type of co-op play where you're going on a big monster hunt. You got to follow the trail of this monster that you're trying to get that's been terrorizing a town, and you and 1 or 2 other witches go to take it down. Another one I'd like to see.
There's an event structure there, that would kind of be possible.
Yeah, I see. NDS in chat there said something like, kill so many of this enemy type on talk about like, okay, there's been an explosion in the population of drowners or something like that, and you have to kill as many as you possibly can, and if the community, cross certain tier, 100,000 killed across the world, we get a bonus of this gold. If we kill 200,000, we get a bonus of this gold. You know what I mean? That would be a cool multiplayer co-op kind of thing.
Even monster hunting competitions, who can get the most trophies. You get yourself a tier list of who managed to kill 1,000 of something.
That kind of stuff, like the competitive element of games sometimes can ruin things for me. I think it can make me anxious, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm not, I find myself when I play like Pokemon Unite now, I'm playing a lot of Pokemon Unite. I'm like, oh, I'm still only like this rank in ranked. I'm like, wait, no, I play this just to relax and chill out. Like, it shouldn't matter what rank I am right now, or so now again, people enjoy competitive elements to some games and competing in the best, but I often think sometimes competitive elements in games brings out the worst in people, and that's not the
yes.
Occasionally the gaming community can let itself down when it comes to PvP.
Occasionally.
Co-op better than versus.
Yeah.
Work together, guys. Come on. Come together.
I see some people are sort of agreeing with us, like talking about Witcher 3 beginning is a big part team up though with Vesemir. Yeah, look, again, I know Witchers team up at times. They team up with wizards and witches and whatever as they go through it. In fact, one of the short stories, I'm pretty sure Geralt teams up with a vampire, if I'm remembering correctly. So like there's a lot of teaming up, but like there's not hundreds and thousands of Witchers teaming up to do the same thing. maybe some small co-op parties, says Leandro. Yeah, that's kind of like to share a walk. That would be cool if you could like in IRL, like, you know, walk around with another friend or two friends. But then again, what happens when you get like 25 people like who meet up together and go for a walk?
As long as we can hold hands.
The circle of witches.
I mean, they could limit that. And now that you got me thinking, some sort of small party-based system may well work quite well in this game.
Yeah, exactly. Or like
to the 28,000 person raid.
Across the world, like you could have it. You know, let's say a 3-person party. So me, you, us 3 could be a party, but like we're doing it asymmetrically together. Like we don't all have to be online at the same time.
If this ends up in the game, we know where they got the idea.
Clip it. I'm clipping this right now. I'm posting it on Twitter for evidence. No, but again, I think people have sort of suggested stuff. Jasic said, "Can I ask you, what do you think about talents? Is it good that we cannot reset our talent tree?" Well, ultimately, you're working towards completing it anyway. Isn't that a fair?
No, not anymore. You're working towards mostly completing it anyway.
Yeah. I am aware that you can't.
That's the math I have.
Yeah,
that's the math I have done.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems inevitable that they'll put in a respec at some point.
Yeah.
Which I think would be really interesting because somebody was asking me the other day about one of the slowing time skills and whether it was worth buying. And my answer to them was, sure, it's useful at first, but eventually it's not. And then I thought, well, hang on. You know, I've unlocked that talent. I've been using it for 6 months. I don't know what it's like not having it. How about you do now? So, you know,
it's noticeable.
Really interesting. Yeah, because all of a sudden, all that learnt muscle memory stuff wouldn't work. You know, unless you bought straight back into
when you don't have that talent, because suddenly you have to cast really fast. Like you see these coming at you, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Chat, put a thumbs up in chat if you think Tarax should start again and delete an account and start from level 1
no,
again.
It's not happening.
Tom says, I would love to create quests for others. In time you get a lot of gold, so why not become a quest giver for others, maybe in your own camp? I don't know how that would work. Like, you know, how would you like write stories into the game without having access to like source code and stuff like that? But maybe they like it could be, you know, kill 5 drowners and I'll give you 50 gold or something like that.
Something procedural, Did you both see that concept art somebody threw together of the camp?
No. Where would I see that? Is
it's amazing idea that you can basically set up a camp in a location.
Is it in Discord?
Yeah, somewhere. I mean, you
probably
somewhere.
It's probably in the fan art page, is it?
No, somebody was posting it in ideas or suggestions or something.
Okay.
It'll be hard to find, Rog.
Okay. No worries.
But it was basically a camp where you can lay down, you know, a single instance of a camp at one point in time, and your potions brew faster when you're in the camp. Memory. They had some kind of summoning skill that would operate in the camp, and other people could come and kind of get bonuses from your camp, and then you could sort of pack it up and move it somewhere, but it would take 24 hours. It was really well thought out, and they've done concept art effectively for it.
Yeah. There is a post on Reddit from a guy who made a whole bunch of suggestions that I was going to get into.
A lot of suggestions.
It's quite a large one.
Yeah.
No, I agree with some. I disagree with others. I'm not going to get into the meat of it. But there's so many good suggestions for where this game can go. But again, it's all about the philosophy that Spocko have behind this game, and whether they're willing to just, you know, plow through with that philosophy or even pivot slightly. So I'm keen to see where they take this, because I'm pretty sure they've got a ton of ideas. But some of the suggestions that are coming through are amazing. As long as it doesn't break the game economy or anything like that. Like one suggestion I saw was you can take on a bandit camp, and once you kill them, you get a bit of gold out of them. So like they're sitting around a chest. You kill 3 bandits, you get some gold. But if you kill a bandit camp and you get 100 gold out of it, that's going to ruin your game economy, because all you're going to do is walk around town looking for bandit camps. But if, say, you're getting 2 or 5 gold per bandit camp, it's not a lot, but every time you come across one, you're going to try and take it on.
And I don't think they're kind of stupid enough to ruin their own economy. What would be really interesting is if they lean further into this choices have consequences thing. right?
Oh,
I was
love
thinking
it.
the other day, what if they start doing stuff like there's a pair of monsters, but you can only ever kill one of them, and it's in your bestiary, and then I will just sort of like throw my phone on the floor and stomp out. You know, what other kind of consequential choices can they put into the game that will make it a more, you know, each instance for each user is more persistent?
Yeah. I can just imagine how pissed off people would get for the decisions that
Yes, exactly.
they made. But not even that the decisions they made, but like the unknown people don't like unknown consequences. You know, it's like, okay, if I make this decision, X will happen, but if I make this decision, Y will happen. But if you don't know what either decision will make, like, it's very RPG like, you know, it's very RPG like. And then sometimes you think you're making the right decision, but then the person fucks you over anyway. You know what I mean? It's like
Because it's almost like these NPCs have their own agency.
Yeah. You know,
their own motives that are hidden from you, so you can't take everything as value.
There's literally no design choice that you can make in this game that will make 100% of the player base go, great idea, guys.
No, you can't. And they have made a nod to saying they're going to introduce some stuff around the timing of quests to say, just, you know, like a warning that says, be warned, when you start this, you've only got half an hour. But I don't think they'll change it's hard to talk about this without plot spoilers. I don't think they'll change the more consequential stuff where you have to kind of go one way or another.
I mean, without spoilers or saying anything, the rock troll quest. So I was doing this when I wasn't really paying attention, and I know I'm checking it out, and the dialogue options come up, and I'm thinking, okay, this is what it looks like to me, without really paying too much attention and what happened before. I don't know how I spawned the quest because it was quite early on. I don't know why it turned up, and reading later on, I figured out what happened, and I made a choice, and a couple of things happened, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna have to live with that. It's not the optimal result because that's not what I wanted to do. And then later on, I'm like, oh, right, that's why that happened, and it's all my fault. And I kind of made a bad decision. So I didn't get the result I wanted on that. But I'm like, okay, well, if this is the way this game's going, with, you know, your choices have consequences. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like, now I actually have to think about what I'm doing rather than, you know, skip. Where's my choice? Where's my gold? You know?
Yeah.
Ooh, Diamond's got a good one.
Yeah, I see. I just see. Sorry, I'm just reading as it comes in. Dear audience, I have some questions. If I see a monster, my friend will stand near me. Will he see the same monster?
Yes,
they should.
I believe the answer is yes.
Exceptions. Yeah. Well, there are a couple of exceptions. First of all, there's the weird glitchy thing that we talked about before, where it's popping in the wrong skin on your instance. There are some people I know who play as couples who are like, oh, I've got slightly different monsters here, and it appears to be more around network lag than anything. And then there's the one that trips everybody up, which is the Witcher Aura monster that pops in when you log in, pre-identified on the map. So you get a personal spawn about every hour, which will be unique to you.
Oh, interesting.
But generally, any monster you come across in the game will be the same monster for everyone. It's a persistent world, according to Spocko. So,
and now
here's
something somebody needs to investigate, though, about that, because a Nemeton will always have the same thing in it, right? And back on a previous patch, somebody figured out that if you bait a Nemeton, you will always, if two people bait the same Nemeton, you will always get the same tier of monster. So if I bait a Nemeton and get a legendary, and you bait the Nemeton and get a legendary, when you bait the Nemeton, you'll get a legendary in that instance. Now they've changed the way Nemetons cycle now, right? So you can bait them multiple times, and I want to know if that's still true, if it's holding a sequence of rarity.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, so like Bait number 2 will always be medium. Bait number 3 will always be medium. Bait number 4 will always be hard. Bait number 5 will be medium. Bait number 6 will be
And we were using it back then to go, right, I need a legendary of this type. So back when you could bait for species. So if I bait this now, I'll get my legendary whatever. But I don't know if that's what happens with the new baiting system.
But you need more than one person in the same area.
You need two people, and they need to run the same sequence of bait.
Okay.
Anyway.
I'm really not that interested in the game to figure that out, if I'm honest, guys. As much
I'm
as
not
I
either,
love,
but I'm putting it out there
yeah,
on
yeah,
YouTube
yeah.
so someone else can.
I
I've already
love,
done the Neverton baiting run.
I love how obsessed people are with this game. I love how much people want to figure out. Like, earlier today in this chat you're talking about, like, does the ARD stagger go up percentage per second? I'm like, that has never even crossed my mind. Like, that percentage, like the second long stagger going up by like 10-15%. I think it's hilarious how people how people's mind work about this.
If I can get a crit earlier, then I'll invest all my points into it.
Yeah.
So,
we've got a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Just asking how many quests are in season 1. 15. Yeah. Easy answer. Just count.
Nice.
15.
Good to know.
Just count in your journal, and if you've done 15, you've done them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
And you will get a trinket that tells you you've completed season 1.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Although that's a little weird because it only that actually triggers when you complete all the main quests in season 1. Some of them are classed as side quests.
Ooh. Spoiler alert, everybody.
Not everything leads to the story, but
spoiler.
Side quests. You never would have guessed. But I mean, like this. How cool is this game? Sorry, can I just make a point? How cool is this game? Like as a concept, as a thing. Sometimes it genuinely pisses me off how annoyed people get at this game when I'm like, are you fucking serious? This is a phenomenal experience on your mobile phone that you get to go out and walk around in the world, hack down monsters, and do genuinely interesting quests that are unexpected. Like I did a quest earlier on. I won't talk about which one it is, but I had to go and collect a certain thing, and then by the time I collect the 20th one, suddenly I'm actually triggering another cutscene. That I have to make another moral choice, and then I go on and collect more of these things, and another cutscene hops in, and I'm like, I'm still nowhere near finished the quest, but it just threw in 2 additional cutscenes in this quest line, and I'm like, I'm playing a fucking mobile game here, you know what I mean? Like, this is unheard of. There's no other game that does this. If I'm, Pokemon Go doesn't have, it's just go collect Pokemon, isn't it? That's all it is. It's there's raids and bosses and stuff, but essentially it's just let's complete the collection.
It's a collection.
Yeah, the Harry Potter one tried to introduce a story.
Okay.
I remember
I'm still playing that, and the story's progressing quite nicely. There was a bit of a break for about a year.
Okay.
But the story, it's kind of gated behind you having to complete everything. And so if you don't have the time in a limited event, then you're not going to get the full story. And sometimes part of the story comes with the bonus part of the content. Anyway, we're not talking about Harry Potter. What I will mention, though, and this goes in with the quests, there's 15 quests, and no matter what you do, you will always be able to get those quests. Nothing in the game will stop you from having these quests trigger. So if you make a decision in one quest or a story, that's not going to stop the next part from spawning. So you can't screw it up. The only
now what happens in those quests, completely different story. But there's no way to not get them all.
Yeah. Okay.
You will experience all of it, and you will get the story that is unique to you. And I love that about the game, because every one of your choices changes what shows up in your journal. My journal entries for these quests are different to yours. And I'm still a little bit upset by some of it, because I always want to be first place, and I couldn't get it. But at least I did better than a participation trophy.
Yeah, participation trophy.
I wonder what you could be talking about.
Yeah. This is it. I think. Eventually, we will do a spoiler cast. I'll tell you what, because this is my stream. Do spoiler casts on your own stream, but we will eventually do one. Math Gamer had a good question there, guys, and I don't know if I've ever asked you this or ever talked to you about this. Like, what are things you would like to see in the game? I'll go with you first, Brock, if you got anything specific you would like to see in the game.
I mean, we've already talked about some of it. Absolutely co-op style.
Yeah.
But then let's go somewhere else on this. Potentially upgradable armor or swords or something like that. where, I mean, we're talking minor upgrades.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to backtrack on that. Yes, I want that. But even more than that, the trinkets and trophies that you get in this game, I want to see them have some sort of effect. So in the games, when you kill a certain monster, you hang that trophy off the back of your horse. And that confers upon you a small percentage bonus, whether it's to gold or experience or to monster effect. I would love to see you be able to pick one trophy and just hang that on the side of your horse, and that affects your gameplay in some way. Let's say it's an extra 5% gold. Let's say it's extra percentage experience, or you do more damage to a certain monster type. I would love to see that. That's what I'd like to see to the game.
Okay, that's good. I like it. Rax?
I'm going to lean into the design philosophy and potentially drive some people crazy here. I'd like to see more persistent effects in the world based on the questing and what's going on. So maybe there's a quest where you have to destroy a nemeton, and that nemeton never spawns in that location again. Or you have to do something else that affects, I don't know, the terrain or some area, right? And just really lean into that uniqueness of each people's experience, so that, you know, if Habrock and I are ever in the same city and walking around, actually, because of choices I've made, things are a little different for me than they are for him. That's what I want to see, because this game is different. It's something unique at the moment-ish. So why not lean into that uniqueness and
No, I like it.
Make it even more different.
I'm just conscious of time, guys. We've been going for about an hour and 15. Are you happy to talk for another 15 minutes? Is that okay?
I'm good.
Yeah. Let's wrap this one up.
Yeah.
It's about 10 degrees in here now.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm also conscious. I don't want to go on for hours, so we'll talk for another 15 minutes. If you've got questions, guys, I know there's I can see, I think about 40 people watching. Thank you, everybody, hitting thumbs up. All that stuff is great. Throw in a few more questions, guys. We're going to talk for another 15 minutes. Thank you to Rax and Habrock. If you're not aware, I'm in Dublin here in Ireland, so it's 10:45 p.m. What time is it with you guys? It must be 9 a.m. right now with you guys, is it, roughly?
9:45.
9:45. These guys have their, Sundays to get up and go do their real world stuff. So we're going to go for another 15 minutes. I saw some stuff coming in. There's also PvP in Pokemon Go. That's fine. I quit Pokemon Go because a lot of the quests are now pretty much blocked behind paywalls. Okay. Last night I was amazed at how much you can play the game just fine. Even grind XP pretty fast. In car going 100 kilometers an hour. Yes, as a passenger of a car, you can get a lot done. I know that. I was on a 3-hour trip back from the west of Ireland, and my wife was driving. I was like, I've never killed as many monsters in that 3 hours. How could I was thinking?
I have to answer. I have to answer a question here, because Bon Jovi's just popped in. Does Nightmare spawn in the wild? That's the bane of his life. So the answer to that is yes, but not for you.
Yeah. Specific to his instance, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's what's happened. Yeah.
Cool. I'd like more points of interest. I think a lot of people would agree that the map is aside from the odd nemeton, it's a pretty flat, not uninteresting map. You'd like to see maybe some taverns and stuff. I played what's the other AR game that's kind of like a pixel based RPG? It's kind of old school looking. Or Orna.
I haven't played it.
Don't know.
It's another one. It's kind of old school RPG, and it's got little taverns and blacksmiths and stuff all around the place. It's kind of cool, actually. I like the way that looks.
I agree. I wouldn't mind seeing more points of interest in the game. Like saying taverns, blacksmith, armor smith, that sort of thing. Whether they confer a buff on you or not, it's one person mentioned I would love to see a signpost that I can pick up my Witcher quests from. But again, not everyone's going to walk out to that signpost to pick up their daily quest. You literally have it turn up on your phone. So your signpost is your phone. Just want to point that out.
What else? People are talking. There's a few comments. What drops cursed remains? I never get that ingredient.
Cursed beast. Let's have a look. So Archospores, if you can kill them, they're a pain in the ass.
Yes, they have one of the most awkward attack patterns in the out of everybody, I think. Am I right in saying that? They've got this weird twisty thing that's you think it's coming at you and it doesn't, and then it hesitates and then it comes. And then it's got the second one that does actually come at you really early, and it's which one is it?
Habrock's pro tip for taking out Archospores or any slow attacking monster, at least the initial part of the battle. When that screen spawns, just do circles with your finger.
Yeah.
You'll do a slow attack. You will literally get 3 slow attacks. As soon as that third attack launches, stop, hold down. When that attack hits you, it's going to do a perfect parry.
Oh.
That's the timing of this game. You will get 3 strong attacks. Stop moving. Just hold your finger on the phone. More often than not, perfect parry. Then carry on.
That actually works for a lot of the 2-skull common hard, the 2-skull common monster, strong attack common monsters as well.
Oh, nice. Okay, you heard it here first, folks.
I'll hopefully do a video of my manky thumb.
That is a very good point. I actually want to throw you the link to your channel in the chat just so people are. I'm sure people are aware, but give me 2 seconds here. If you want to do it yourself, if you got your link for your channel, throw it in there, because I know you create a lot of sort of stuff where you boil down the maths of stuff and the timings of stuff and like the which again, for nerds, if I'm honest.
Thanks.
Sorry, Matt's Gamer said, I had a legendary spawn when I was level 2 about 3 weeks ago and couldn't beat it at all. Now I'm level 12 and I haven't seen any since. Rough. That is rough.
I think something about the spawn rates needs a bit of an adjust. So I play about, I would guess, when you including commuting on the train, I play about 3 or 4 hours a day. I'd say.
Okay, wow.
And I think I see a legendary every other day.
Oh wow, okay.
Maybe that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably because you're covering like tens, if not hundreds of miles every day, potentially. I don't know. Is it like
It's not hundreds, but yes.
But do you know what I mean? Like, does it track the number of miles you cover? Like, is there a time? Like, what's the spawn rate? Is it like based on your footsteps, or is it just like random?
No, because it's universal for everyone. It's based on
true.
And it does track your steps though. It is tracking your entire distance traveled in the background.
Can you ask for Witcher IDs? Diamond, there's several channels either in the official Discord, the unofficial Discord, my Discord. There's one of my YouTube videos has got a lot of codes in there. There's actually my code is in the chat below if you're watching on YouTube.
I'm going to be honest and say I've stopped giving out my Witcher ID because I cannot keep up with gifting.
No.
I don't know how some people are still finding it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure where it is, but until they change the gift drop rate, I'm not accepting more friends. I just can't keep up.
I've lost all the people that I'm actually friends with at this point. Like there's just obviously if you've been playing for longer, there's a good chance you've got lots more people. But like as a recommendation, I would not add hundreds of people. If you have friends that you like to play with, add those like 7 people and then no more, because you will eventually lose them. And then
there was somebody saying that the other day, that they think that's the point. It's not to add 1,000 people. It's really for your friends. Hard to say. But yeah, I can comfortably manage about 30. That's it.
So I right now have about 48 unopened gifts from people, and thank you, by the way. I mean, I added a ton of people. I don't mind adding people. The thing is, half the time I'm opening up these gifts and I end up sometimes trashing some of these ingredients because I don't have the bag space for it.
Yeah.
So the other side of that is if I can't get out and about, and if I didn't have many ingredients, then by all means keep sending them, these potions and all that. Because you get oils, potions, ingredients to make stuff. For a low-level player, that could come in handy.
Yeah.
But after a while, you just get lost. And I feel bad about accepting gifts and not being able to give back. And I only get maybe 5-6 gifts a day as I'm playing. And so it's a little bit limiting. But I think the friends list needs to be sorted out slightly better. Just because right now it's a bit of a mess. I like the latest update. It's got all of your pending gifts at the top.
It's buttery smooth now. Like it's so, like, there was a point there where I physically just didn't bother opening the window. It was so slow and so labored trying to claim the stuff. It just would like it's really, really smooth now, which I like. I think if there's no more questions, guys, we might just wrap it up there. Is there a few more comments? Sorry, I didn't like the clear Nemeton daily quest when I was level 8, though. That's a bit rough considering.
Yeah, they need to. There's a few there that trigger in impossible situations they need to sort out.
You said it before, and streamed online games have the same problem. Too many friend requests. Exactly. Yeah. Like again, I have a first world problem. It's not a real problem. Level 19, seen 3 or 4 legendaries. Can't kill them. Been finished with quests since week 1. Doesn't feel like anything to do if you aren't after that 100% platinum trophy. I actually agree with that comment. If you are not after completing your bestiary and you have finished the story quests, there is nothing else in this game for you. With that, I think that's a fair sort of
for
assessment.
a lot of people. You're right.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I think some people will want to round out the skill tree a bit more just to improve their kind of skill at beating monsters. But yeah, you're here for the quests. Then
I'd like to see in the persistent world progressive quests. So one or two that pop up a day where you go out and walk, and it is a quest that is just randomly generated that will send you, in the similar vein of what the season has.
Yeah.
Maybe without the voice acting and the cutscenes, or maybe it's a generic voice acted cutscene thing. But it's like, all right, this monster's been terrorizing this village. Can you go and kill it? And you take it out. You finish that contract, and you go back. And it's just something that procedurally generates that just gets you a bit more active rather than, oh, what's my daily quest? Kill 3 of this kind of thing. It actually makes you walk from A to B and back, and there's nuance to it. And do I kill this monster, or do I lift this curse, or rather than just straight kill X, return for gold.
All right, I think we're going to leave it there, guys. That's a good length. I will actually I hadn't really planned on this, but I think I will throw this up on YouTube so people can rewatch it. I think we covered a lot of really good stuff here, a lot of good comments, new players, old players. Time for bed. Thanks again for the stream. Yeah, look, guys, thank you so much. Thank you very much, Tarax and Brock. I know initially this was just going to be a call with us just having a chat, and then about an hour before this I said, hey, why don't we live stream it, and you guys were gracious enough to say yes,
which to be honest, Rog, was always going to happen, wasn't it? I mean,
I don't know. When we get together, magic happens. So I was like, we better record this, or it'll just be wasted. Everyone else would be like, oh, I didn't know that was happening, and we would have had all this knowledge to share, and people would have missed it. I would have felt bad for everybody else. Like,
right? Yep.
It just has to go up.
Yeah.
Hey man, thanks for organizing. Always happy to talk.
You guys hang on for 2 seconds after we drop off. But everybody else, thank you for the likes, thank you for the subscribes, keep playing the game.
Thank you for the questions.
Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the nice words. Tarax, you can find Tarax in the Discord. He's one of the mentors. In fact, Brock, you're a mentor too, aren't you? Sorry, you're both mentors.
I am.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, in the official Discord. So feel free to annoy them all day with questions about they love what's the best sword, what's the best armor, all that stuff. Tarax, I may actually ask you someday to help out, because you've created a really comprehensive spreadsheet on the game as a resource for a lot of stuff. So we may do a video on that someday. Do a dab. Okay. Everyone, guys, do you know how to dab? Have you ever dabbed before?
Yeah, I do, but my children laugh at me, so I'm not doing
it. Do people still dab? I don't know. So anyway, so I was saying, so Tarax and Habrock, you can find them both in the official Discords, the unofficial Discords. Habrock has a YouTube channel. I threw the link in there. Make sure you go over there and check it out.
Thank you, sir.
Tarax, have you anything you want to promote? Anything you want people to know about
really.
you?
I'm also all over the unofficial Reddit too.
Okay.
With a different username, but I'll leave you guys to figure out what that is. It can be a little quest for you. Pretty obvious though.
Yeah. We will leave it there, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for the likes, everything, blah blah blah, and we will see you in the next one. I don't know when we'll do the next Straying from the Path. Like maybe once a month, maybe once a fortnight. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Guys and girls, thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. If you have the time, feel free to check out the other videos you might see on screen right now. Also, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. Also, subscribe if you want to see more good content like this. That good content may not be that good.